Hello there, this is Eldon, and welcome back to A Photo Edit. I have not recorded a video for this channel for quite some time, and I thought recently I've been noticing people talking about Adobe allowing basically AI generation within Photoshop beta, and I thought this really looked interesting, so I thought I'd quickly record a little video seeing how it handles a couple of images and just see how that works. So first of all, you would need to install the beta version of Photoshop. I think you need to have the main app installed and up to date. So Photoshop somewhere here, I'm not seeing it. I do have it installed, weird. Anyhow, and then I think if you go down here to beta apps, you can install and check for updates there. So we'll just go ahead and hide that. But anyhow, if you want to do this yourself, and then you'll notice they've added this kind of situationally aware little dialogue thing that pops up, and there's some helpful stuff in there to select subjects, remove backgrounds, and some other things. So stuff that has been available in Photoshop, but generally is within a number of menus buried deeply somewhat, and so that situationally comes up when you're working on a photo. So let's go ahead and jump to seeing how this essentially content-aware fill, but using generative AI handles things. So let's go to the image, and we're going to go to, well, let's just do it with crop tool here. So I'm going to grab the crop tool. I'm going to go, let's say we want a 16 by 9 crop. Let's see, 16 tab 9. And then let's crop out to the side a little bit. Perhaps I wanted the this rock formation or edge of the lake to kind of curl back around. I'm not sure what this is going to do, but if we select that area and then do generative fill, and if I understand right, if you leave this blank, it will just automatically figure out what to put there. You can also put a prompt in there as well. So let's go ahead and see how that handles this. And it obviously takes some time, but I think the powerful thing is here that it is learning off of your photo here instead of going out and scouring whoa, that's pretty good. So what I was beginning to say there is, instead of going out to its harvested photo set from around the web and building off of that. So if we zoom over here, it doesn't look like it's perfect. These rocks look a little funky, and you can kind of see an edge in here, and maybe some of this tree foliage is a little weird. The sky is quite good, but yeah, so it's not perfect, but definitely gives you a starting place if you want to kind of add some of this texture back, and I think you could get a pretty passable image there fairly quickly. So this photo was one that I took in Portugal last fall, and I kind of wish that it was a little wider. It's a long story as to why I wasn't able to do that, but it's not really a big deal in this case. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just crop it again, add some oops, didn't mean to go all the way there. So if we crop again and then just go out to the side, there we go. Just wanted it out the side there instead of on top. So again, I will select here, and it sounds like it's a good idea to have a little bit of a buffer selection here. So we'll hit generate here and just see how that does. And we'll give it a little moment here to think through things and decide. I think it may do fairly well on this one because there's not like a ton of well-defined detail here. It's a little bit of an abstract photo to begin with, but we'll see. And there you go. That is pretty impressive. I am quite impressed with that. Shocked, in fact would almost be the way I would put it. Alright, so here is a photo from out in, let's see, I think this is Idaho somewhere, or maybe it's in Washington, I forget. And let's see, I'm not quite sure what I want to do here. I guess we could just go back to the crop thing again and grab 16 by 9. That's kind of what I would like, is a nice wide crop. And man, I tell you, sometimes I think that Photoshop's sensitivity and scrolling is a little bit uncalled for, but anyhow, it's generally a good thing, I think. Yeah, so I think this is where I will probably end up using it quite a bit, or at least some, is in the changing the aspect ratio of the initial photo, especially in simple landscapes or whatever. That is quite good. Up here on top, there's a little bit of a weird gradient, but I think we could select this and again do a generative fill. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that when it does this generative fill, it also adds a couple of variations here, and so you can click between them and see which one you like best. I think in that case I kind of like this one best, so there you go. Let's see. So yeah, I do see a little bit of a line there, so I'm going to just grab this top bit and I'm going to do generative fill here, which that's quite a name, generative fill, and we'll see if it fixes that kind of line in the colors there in the sky. Yeah. Thinking. I thought it was done, and then it slowed down again. I think that made some of it better, but it almost looks like the edge moved over here, so I'm not 100% sold on that use case there, or that particular image. This is another image that's basically the same as the last one, so I think we'll just pass on that one for now. Now this is one that is already cropped to be a pano. It's actually a stitched panorama, but I thought it might be interesting to see what would happen if we essentially added to the top of the image. Like, how carried away does it get? This is obviously a lot of sky that would be being replaced. So let's just see what happens here. Yeah. This was an incredible, beautiful morning, and there was pink everywhere, and I can zoomed in like this to cut stuff out of the foreground, and I really like the wide crop, but I was curious what it would look like a little less narrowly focused on this pano here. So, getting close here. Whoa! Wow, that is impressive. I really like that. And then there's a couple of variations here, and I don't think you could go wrong with any of them. That is incredible. I don't know. That feels a little bit like some crazy stuff. This is actually from that same morning. So I thought it might be interesting to just grab a little spot here and just give it some general details, and maybe put another boat out here. Yeah, so that's the other interesting thing here, is that you can not only work with your photo, make it bigger, make it change the aspect ratio or whatever, you can add stuff to the boat, or to the image, to the boat, or whatever. So let's see how this looks here. And that obviously is not quite what we're going for, because the scale is all wrong. but it does fit in there fairly well. So I'm going to actually just delete that, and we'll go into the next photo. This one was a photo that happened fairly quickly, so I wasn't able to think too much about it, and so I thought I might just pop it in here and see once again what a changed aspect ratio would look like here. And I think I want to give him just a little more headroom there, a little more place to go. And I think it's going to do fairly well here because, again, it's not super detailed details. It's kind of a smear effect as I was panning to try to keep up with him. So it probably will do fairly well here as well. But yeah, I'm just fascinated to think through what this all means for the future. I'm not 100% sure. Wow, that's pretty good. If we grab a different variation here, I wonder. Yeah, so this top up here, I would rather if it didn't have that kind of break in the foliage there. So we'll do another generative fill there and give it a moment. But yeah, I'm really fascinated to see where this ends up in 2 to 3 years. Feels like there are some things that this does fairly well, and then there's some things that it's like, you can see the edge and just did weird, and whoops, what happened? Not quite sure what happened there. But yeah, it feels like probably this is the early days, and probably this is going to get much, much better with time. So that is going to be something that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on as we continue to go forward, as Adobe continues to work on this, and other folks do as well. So yeah, that's a much better fill in my humble opinion. The really cool thing about this here is that, so it replaced that area there, but it didn't just sample from over here. It obviously sampled from around the pixels, but it created a new pattern. It didn't just borrow directly from somewhere else. So like you would get if you were doing a clone stamp tool or something like that. So yeah, that is fascinating. Now the other cool thing here is that if we open a new document, and we'll just create the default size here, and if we select here, we can give it a prompt and basically start from scratch. Man, I'm telling you, this scrolling thing is weird. Maybe it's a bug in the beta. Anyway, so let's just say safari grassland with zebras and giraffes and elephants. And so you can do completely from nothing generative AI as well, or generative imaging. I don't know what you call it anymore. There's so many different takes on what it is, what exactly it means, and what all it doesn't mean. And obviously there is some room for improvement there, and I do not see any giraffes, but yeah, fascinating. So if we grab another layer here and we put in a giraffe, not sure what that's going to do. And yeah, generative AI can do some really weird things. I've noticed that it really does poorly with things like hands. If you are generating a human, or eyes are never quite right. Faces you can get pretty good, but eyes tend to be a little weird. Okay, that's, it's not perfect obviously, but it's pretty good for being completely generated and placed within the image. So let's go over here and let's add a rocket launching. Yeah, I don't know. This is obviously a little less useful as far as like currently in its current form for us photographers, but I think within a couple of years, this is probably going to be the way that a lot of images are created for advertising or whatever. Oh, that's not good. Let's just say rocket, see if that changes things. Yeah, I could see this being very, very helpful for a digital agency or something where they're, instead of having to hire a photographer, unfortunately, they can just, unfortunately for the photographer anyway, they can just go and, it's a weird looking rocket, but I guess it is a rocket. They can just go and create basically what they need to and generate 42 different variations and pick the one they like best. And the one that, supports their message as well as it possibly can. So anyhow, that is a very brief look at generative fill within Photoshop. And I'm quite impressed. I think this is going to be a good thing for a lot of use cases. I do think that photography is going to become a little bit different over the years to come. I'm not exactly sure what all that means, or what that'll end up looking like. But yeah, I'm curious to keep an eye on that. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and like if you'd like, and we'll see you again some other time. See ya.